Okay, so we're going to start off by washing some plum tomatoes. Make sure you let the water drain off. So we're just going to cut the plum tomatoes in half. I really do need a sharper knife, so might squash these a bit. I haven't sharpened it for a while. So just slice them through. However much you want, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. But it's up to you. If you want, you could keep them whole for your dish. I just prefer the idea of being able to see it and recognise that the little plum tomatoes. Okay, so we're going to start with just a little olive oil in the pan. I'm not going to bother with loads. And let's just swish it round. I'll just crush some garlic into it. I went for about 3 cloves. I like mine to be quite garlicky, so I don't know if I'll add more later or not just yet, but we'll see. Just fry off the garlic in the pan, just a little bit. It's going to be 3/4 of a can of tomatoes in here. I just wanted to use up the rest of it, so I thought I'd make some pasta sauce today. You can use a full can. I'm just making up for it with plenty of fresh tomatoes. But yeah, just let that cook off a little bit. Ooh, it's getting to my nose. And I'll just carefully add my can of tomatoes. Just mix that. Also going to add some of the fresh tomatoes. I want to leave just a few for right at the end because I like to see some whole pieces in there. I know the rest is going to cook down into it, and yeah, I just want to see some of the tomato there, not just have a red sauce. And mix the garlic in. I'm keeping it on a sort of medium high heat, just until it comes up to a simmer again, and then I'll turn it back down to medium low, maybe low. And in the meantime, I'm just going to prepare a bit of vegetable stock. I'm just using a Maggi stock cube. And because I'm using a stock cube, I'm going to season my sauce right at the end, because the stock cube is quite salty in itself. So it's at a simmer now. I put it. I turned the heat down a little bit. Let's keep it down. And I'm just going to start adding some of the seasoning. I'm just going to start with about a teaspoon of sugar. This is because the tomato itself is quite acidic, and you just want it to take a little bit of that acidity out. Plus, it tastes nice. Going with a bit of black pepper. I tend to not really measure the stuff I do. I just do it, you know, by eye, by taste. I'm going to try for the sake of this, but yeah, let's say that was half a teaspoon. And obviously at the end you can always, you'll always have to retaste it, make sure the seasonings are correct. Yeah. So I tend to add all the dry herbs towards the start because I want it to cook out and sort of mellow. I've got a bit of mixed herbs here. I liked it because it had a tiny bit of sage and rosemary in it as well, so it's quite nice, along with thyme. So I add a bit of that. That was about a little over half a teaspoon, but it's up to your taste. I'll also go in with some oregano, dried oregano, and again, to taste. Maybe, I tend to like my pasta sauce to be quite herby, so that was about a teaspoon of oregano. And give it a good old mix. It smells really good already. And then at this point I'm just going to put the lid on because I want the tomatoes to start softening and really cooking into the sauce without too much of the liquid evaporating just yet, because I'm still going to add stock later and let that cook into it too. From time to time, just make sure you give it a quick stir, because you don't want parts of it starting to stick and burn. Because this process won't take too long. They're already starting to soften, especially when you put a lid on it. They'll soften really quickly, especially the plum tomatoes. I also just remembered that I wanted to add a little bit of tomato puree. Just remembered. So let's go in a little squeeze of that. So should we say 2 teaspoons? Or maybe a big heat teaspoon. Gone. And just mix that in. So at this point I think I'm quite happy with that. I don't want it to start drying up too much, and I know the tomatoes aren't quite as soft as I want them to be just yet, but I want to start adding the vegetable stock. So let's just see how much I want to add. I don't want a super runny sauce, but I do want some of that flavour. And I know it's going to look really watery by the end, but I'm going to let that really cook for quite a while. Let it simmer away until the tomatoes are completely cooked in. The sauce has hopefully deepened and it's become nice and rich. And there we go. And cover it back up until it starts to get back to heat, and then I'll probably carry on simmering it uncovered until it reduces to how I want it to be. So at this point it was at a good simmer again, so I just thought I'd take the lid off. Thought I'd just take the lid off and let it cook with the lid off until some of that moisture has evaporated. Because I don't want a really runny pasta sauce. Okay, at this point I'm quite happy with the thickness of the sauce. It's still going to cook a little bit more, but can you see the moisture started to come out a little bit? It's looking nice and silky. So it's still going to cook some more, but I just want to start adding some of the wet ingredients. Italians are going to hate me for this, or maybe just a lot of you in general. I'm sorry. I do like to add a little bit of tomato ketchup to my sauce. And I tend to just go for cheap ones. I won't use Heinz if I'm using it for cooking. Like if I was to make like sweet ribs or something, I'll just use cheap ketchup. But I do like to add just a little bit for the sweetness and the tang. I do quite like that. Then I'll also go in with some Worcestershire sauce, or however you call it. In this case it's Henderson's Relish. And I know it looks like a lot. You add it to your taste. I like mine to be really tangy and deep and rich, and that's just how I like mine. But again, it's all up to you. And then I thought I'd add a little bit of a kick to my pasta sauce. So I'm just going in with a bit of crushed chilli. You can use chilli powder, you can use whatever you want. You don't have to use it. But it's been in my fridge for ever, and I just wanted to use up some of it. Still had to add some salt, so I thought I'd just sprinkle that in. At this point I thought I'd taste it. I added a little bit more Worcestershire sauce already. It's tasting good. I actually wanted a little bit more garlic, so I went in with a little bit of garlic. I like a really garlicky pasta sauce. I just felt like that today. And I think I might just add a touch more oregano. Just add a touch more. Get quite thick, and it's still going to thicken. So I decided to add the rest of my plum tomatoes and just let them soften a little bit, but not too much, because I still want to see the shape of them in the sauce. A touch more salt and pepper. Just a touch. Sauce is done. It's done. The tomatoes have cooked in, they're soft, and I just went in with a bit of basil, fresh basil. And just mix it in. Soften in the heat of the sauce. And I'm just going to turn off the heat now. If you don't want to eat it just yet, you can prepare it ahead of time and just leave the sauce and boil your pasta later. And that's what I'm going to do now. Hey, welcome to my first mukbang. So I finished making the spaghetti sauce and stuff. I forgot to film it, but obviously I boiled the spaghetti, I mixed it into the sauce, and then just put a little bit of the extra sauce on top with a few little basil leaves to garnish. I've got some shaved Parmesan here. I couldn't find a full block because I was just shopping at my local tiny Tesco. Didn't have that. And I also sauteed some potatoes. My mum used to do this all the time. Whenever she made bolognese, she'd fry up some potatoes. I sauteed it instead, and we'd have it on top to mix it on. And a bit of fresh salad. So, you know what? I'll put a few of these on. Let's get some potatoes in there. And I love cheese, so let's do a bit extra. Potatoes are good. See what the pasta's like. I'm sorry for any angry Italians out there. I know my pastas aren't really the most authentic things out there, but it's just, I think it's nice to cook to how you like it. You don't necessarily have to keep it traditional. I see no problem with experimenting. I love Parmesan so much. And because it's my first mukbang, I'm still getting a hang of things. I don't exactly know how I'll do it and what you guys would like. If there's anything you like to see, just say it in the comments. If there's anything you hate, say it nicely in the comments. And I'll try my best to improve. I know I don't have the best camera and sound quality yet. I can't really afford to buy some new equipment just yet, but yeah, I'm hoping to soon. If you're wondering what I might be looking at, it's one of my, I have 3 corn snakes, and one of them has come out of her hide and she's just looking up at me with her head sticking up. It's really cute. The fresh basil really makes the dish though. I think this might be blocking the view. I'm trying not to hit my fork too much on the plate because I know the microphone is picking that up a little bit, but hopefully sometime I'll get a best quality one. It just might not be until after summer or maybe even next year, I don't know yet. No. I've never been good at twiddling spaghetti, as you can see. I'm really enjoying the fresh basil though. Twiddle! I was thinking maybe for my next video I'd try cooking some creamy Indian curry. I just really fancied something really tasty, like a chicken curry with some rice. Super nervous about filming this. It's my first one, and I was worried about the quality not being there. I'm trying, and I know, sorry, it'll probably annoy a lot of people, but it's my first one. But my idea was to try cooking some really cheap but really nice recipes. I'm a uni student myself, so I can't afford to splash out too much on food, but I make do with what I can. Yeah, I don't think I'm a bad cook, but I'll try it. I think that's what I'm hoping to aim for with this channel. Get a few good recipes out there for fellow students. It's stuck in my teeth. Stuck right there in my teeth. Now another one of the snakes is out. It's really funny. He's curled up right towards the front of his enclosure and his head's just... It looks really funny. It's like he's trying to stare at me whilst looking cool at the same time. So some of the Parmesan. I did say I love the stuff. I hope everyone's having a good day anyway. I have. I had quite a lazy day. I just caught up on some lectures, did a bit of shopping for this, been cooking. Don't have any plans for later, I don't know what I'll do. Probably just carry on watching Breaking Bad. I felt like rewatching it again. It's such a good series. I still never watched Better Call Saul, so I should watch that afterwards. It's looking a bit dry, I know, but it tastes really good. Sorry, I was just checking the time. Anything you guys really want me to try cooking, write it down in the comments as well. I'm going to try to really get some stuff out there. I do have an Instagram page with some stuff I've cooked before, so I'm thinking I'll have a look at that and see if there's anything I want to make again and film. I should do a lasagna sometime as well. I've really been craving it. Just it takes me a while, so. Still get the hang of things. Trying to do those silent burps. So make sure you tell me what you think of me trying to do a chicken curry for my next recipe and mukbang. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but yeah. And if there's any topics you want me to talk about the next time around, yeah. I'm really trying not to stab my fork into the plate. There's supposed to be a storm coming. It's been so windy. My apartment windows are so crap. Any time there's a little bit of wind, my windows will be entirely closed. The wind's still coming through though, and it's making all the blinds like flutter really loudly. It wakes me up as well. The windows are just really bad. And I kind of have one of the worst landlords ever. I mean, when I first moved in, I had a fridge which wasn't working properly. I mean, at times my apartment was colder than the fridge. I'm not joking. And so everything was going off really fast. It was really annoying anyway. Sorry, it stuck my teeth in him. And so I told the agency who's supposed to like tell the landlord about maintenance requests and get his approval to fix it. So about a month and a half later, I finally get a call back from a contractor saying, "Oh, we can take a look at your fridge and stuff." So he takes a look and he just says, "Try switching it off for a few days and basically defrosting the full fridge." The thing is, I knew that wasn't the problem because when I moved in, that freezer had been fully defrosted anyway, and I think it was a frost-free freezer anyway. I don't know if that works the same way. I don't know. He just thought maybe there's an ice build-up, to make sure that's not the case. And anyway, fast forward, we knew it wasn't an ice build-up at the end, and more Parmesan. I just love this stuff. I can eat it all day. And yeah, 5 months pass. My fridge still isn't fixed. I've been telling the agency, like calling them back quite often because they keep saying, "Oh, they'll call me back with updates," and it never happens. So I'm just always waiting and waiting, and then having to call them back. And obviously it's annoying on both ends probably, because I'm constantly on the case. But I wasn't getting any correspondence from them. So it was really frustrating. So I finally tell them again, "Look, I need it fixed. It's been 5 months. Well, by that point it had been 4.5. And I finally get a call from a company saying, "Oh, we'll fix your fridge." We arranged a date and they were supposed to come, and they're saying make sure everything is switched off beforehand so it's all defrosted and it's easy for them to take out and stuff like that. So I do that. I take all my food out. I have a freezer full of like frozen meats, stuff like that. Like, you know, there's a lot of food in there anyway that I definitely didn't want to go to waste. So I take it out the night before so I can make sure that the freezer defrosts. It turns out that that wasn't really necessary because this freezer doesn't take long to defrost anyway. Sorry. So yeah, I'm excited on the day thinking, "Oh, finally I'm going to have a working fridge and freezer. I want a food which is going off constantly." Like the amount of cheese I had to throw away. Cheese. It was just so... And it's getting... So I'm waiting on the day. I was told that I'm supposed to get a text confirmation to say, like, you know, around what time they should be coming. I was a bit surprised that I hadn't gotten one yet, because it had gotten to about 12 o'clock and I still had no text or anything. I was being patient. I thought maybe they're just doing it with a 2-hour window, and so I won't get one until later. and they don't start doing repairs until around 7 o'clock in the evening. So I was waiting, and I checked the tracking, and the tracking says, oh, it's due to happen. You know, it just says between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So I just thought, okay, it should be fine, it'll be fine. And it gets to 4 o'clock, and obviously I'm thinking, what's going on? The tracking hasn't changed. There's no update, it just says between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And so I decided I'll call the company when, you know, for an estimate of what time they should be doing this repair. And this company says, oh, it's been cancelled. I'm like, what? No one's told me, no one's called me, nothing's changed on my end. Why has no one told me this? I'm like, yeah, it was cancelled, and they couldn't say why. They just said because a payment hadn't been sent through yet, so they couldn't carry out the repair. So basically the landlord hadn't paid them yet. So I was seriously annoyed. And so I called the agency and saying, it was cancelled, like, why hasn't it been paid for or anything? Why has no one told me? And they said, oh, the other company was supposed to tell you, the one doing the repairs. I'm like, no, I had to call and say at around 4 p.m. and find out then that it was cancelled. And I'm thinking, yeah, even if you arranged for them to call me, you should still make sure you call me anyway, just to make sure. I'm like, yeah, sorry. And they said, we'll arrange another day, you know. So, okay. Another 2 to 3 weeks pass before the landlord decides he'll finally pay for it. I'm thinking, why does it take so long then? What was the issue? They were saying apparently it's because that company didn't send them an invoice. I don't know. I was just peeved off anyway. So about 5 months passed before I got that changed. I was also having issues with my shower around the time as well. Because my shower, I think the thermostat wasn't working on it. I don't know, it was super old. And it was either way too hot, freezing cold, or just tepid. So I was always shaking after a shower. It was too cold. And it was getting to winter at this point. So, bear in mind, I moved in around June. And I had to wait all the way until January. Or was it February? January, yeah, because I had my exam. And they finally changed it, and that was 6 months later. And I told them around the same time that my fridge had stopped working, I'd already told them that my shower needs fixing as well. So that took them 6 months, well, 7 months, before they fixed that. And that was only because I'd started having to send angry emails saying I'm paying rent 6 months in advance and this landlord isn't doing the repairs that he's supposed to be doing. It was getting me really angry. 6 months in advance, that's a lot of money for me to just be sending out in one go. I'm a student, I'm not rich. It finally got replaced, but he didn't give a damn about the fact that my fridge wasn't working, the fact that my shower wasn't working. When I moved in, the freezer was full of mould as well. It said it in the itinerary as well before I moved in, because I hadn't even cleaned it properly. In fact, the last girl who was here had left her vegetables in there, so they had rotten completely because the freezer had been switched off and it stank so bad. I was doing my part as a good tenant, you know, paying my bills, paying my rent, you know, keeping my apartment clean and stuff like that. And he didn't ever want to do repairs or anything. Apparently he was only doing emergencies, but I think a shower is an emergency. So is your fridge if you've got nothing else. Well done. It's fixed now. I like the apartment itself anyway. Just got some salad left. It's so hard not getting the salad in my teeth. But you gotta stay healthy.